I said it was a monster introduction. You can see I was not kidding. Mike, what is this lovely piece of machinery you got here?
This is the Frankford Arsenal FX-10. This is our first progressive press. It's got a lot of the same great features from the F1 and the M press, like the integrated LED light. It's also got a case feeder and the option for a bullet feeder. One great feature of this press is the spring-loaded case retaining tabs, so it allows for one-handed insertion and removal of cases.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
because that could be a big bugaboo of running. If something goes wrong and you got to start over.
That's always a big time sink on progressives, is any mistake makes you clear the whole shell plate. You've got to either take out the tabs or try to wiggle them back in around that continuous spring. So we tried to address that with this feature. So our first station is case feed. So as the press is cycled, it picks up a tube from the collator and inserts it into the shell plate. And the next station is decap. And another problem with progressive presses, especially when reloading military brass with crimped primers, is primer drawback, where the primer can stick to the end of the decapping pin and be drawn back into the primer pocket even after it's totally separated from the case. And then when you get to the priming or swaging station, it'll swage or try to put a new primer on top of that spent primer.
And then you got problems.
Yeah, and that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
So what we did was we just have a second station where you can decap. So if it does stick and rides in the case to the next station, you can hit it again and the primer will fall into the same cavity and take the same channel through the press.
Okay.
And out into the primer receptacle.
Yeah.
So this press does have on-press swaging. So station 3 is swage. Station 4 is prime. And I've also got a neck expander in that station on this machine. Station 5 is open, and that could be, it could be trim, it could be neck expansion. Station 6 is powder drop. And our powder measure is really unique because it has this proprietary safety where the safety rod comes down to the bottom of the press and it passes through this channel and it's got this lock nut on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that right now I can't raise the powder measure. So if for some reason it would happen to stick at the top, when you raise the tool head, that nut will crash into the housing and force that down. So you can't get to the end of reloading and realize that your powder measure hasn't been cycling.
Right.
So our next station is powder check. And the next station is what I'm really proud of on this, which is the bullet feed station. So we have an integrated bullet feeder, which will pick up a bullet from the collator and seat it in the case in the same station.
Does it fully seat it or just partially?
It fully seats it.
Okay.
So that allows us to have all these functions on the press, like bullet feed and neck expand and trim and powder check, and still have enough stations to do a seat and a crimp operation separately.
You can crank out like how many pistol before you have to go reload your hoppers.
Yeah, so the primer tube will hold 100 primers, that's standard. The collator will probably hold about 200 pieces of 223 brass, maybe as many as 500 pieces of pistol brass. The bullet collator will hold somewhere between probably 200 and 500 bullets, depending on the caliber.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty impressive piece of machinery you got there. Is this out now or is it coming soon? Or
it'll be out at the end of 2021.
Well, if you're interested in a progressive loader, this is a really nice setup. So check out Frankford Arsenal, like you said, coming out this summer.